Hey, Real Green Ninja here. The video you're about to watch is a supplement to the existing tutorials and help videos already available on the Real Green website. I do take a more casual approach because I'm presenting this information as I would if you called in, although I may have a little fun with it. This video is based upon the information I, as a Real Green technician, would provide using my experience on the help desk. This video was created on my own time to assist with areas of the software that may be waiting for an official help video or tutorial. At the beginning of the training video, I will have the version of the Service Assistant the video was made with. I will also try to be as accurate as possible, but be aware, as Service Assistant updates are released, things may change. I'm using the name Real Green Ninja as not to stand out from the other amazing technicians that I work with. I hope the information in this video helps you, so grab a cup of coffee, and I hope you learn something new. Hey, Real Green Ninja here. Today we're talking about report favorites, so let's begin. Now, let's say there's a report that you run constantly. You maybe run it once a day, maybe you run it once a week, maybe you run it once a month, maybe you run it, once every 6 months or once every quarter. Again, there's a common report that you keep running over and over and over again. The system does have the ability to create what's called a report favorite. Now, the thing about the report favorite is when you set it up, it's going to run the report exactly every single time. And again, I'll explain that here in a moment. But when you want to create a report favorite, what you're going to do is you're going to create a favorites group. So you're going to hit this little icon right here, and it's going to pop up this report favorites group. Now, inside here is going to be a list of different groups that people have set up. All right. When you want to create a new one, all you have to do is hit this little create new favorite groups icon and give it a title. So, maybe I'm going to do RG Ninja monthly reports. There we go. Public means anybody would be able to run it. Private means only you can run it. All right, so we're going to hit OK there. And you'll now see I have RGN monthly reports. Now, if you are wanting to change an existing report or change something, then report group, then you can select it and hit this little edit icon. And we'll come back to this here in a moment. But now that we have my group created, now I can start adding reports to that group. So let's say on a monthly basis, I run a payment report. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to as always, I recommend clear current report criteria, just in case you're not quite sure how it was ran before. But I'm going to set this report up the way I want it ran each time. Now, because it's a monthly report, I might not do year to date. I might do last month. All right. So again, this is something I'd run in August, so I could set it for last month. If the date range says something like custom, then it will always run it for that date range. So again, you want to make sure that it has something in there like last month, last week, year to date, last year to date, that type of thing, unless it's specifically you only want to run it for that month or for that date range. Again, it's up to you guys how you want to do it. All right, you're going to set all your criteria. You're going to do a preview and make sure this is the information you look for. Maybe I don't want just a summary or grand totals. Maybe I actually want the detail list. But again, you're going to configure the report how you want it to be ran. Make sure everything looks good at this point in time. And then once you have all your stuff in there, then you're going to hit this little save favorites. Now, if you save it as a print, it won't even show you the preview of the report. It's going to ask you what printer you want to send it to. And that's why usually I recommend setting it to preview, because you can print the report from that preview. And that way, if anything looks wrong, you're not wasting paper, and then you can kind of figure out what's going on. So again, once I've got all my criteria set, I'm going to hit the little Save to Favorites icon, and it's going to ask me which group to save it in. So I'm going to save it into RGN Monthly Reports. I can also rename the report. See here. There we go. Monthly payment report. Hit OK. And now this is saved as a favorite. Let's say I also want to do a credit hold report each month. So I can go to Customer Balance menu. I can go to Credit Hold Report. Again, as with anything, you want to do that clear current report criteria just to make sure that you have nothing throwing you off. So again, this is a credit hold report. This is going to look for people that are on credit hold. But you know what? I also want to include my canceled, and maybe I want to include my gave estimate called customer. So again, you're going to check mark which settings you want. Again, you can say I want summary only, because remember, whenever you run this report, it will always run it as the point you saved it. Again, I'm going to set mine to preview. Now, with the .NET style of reports, you don't have that little folder icon. So what you're going to do is you're going to click this wrench, and you're going to tell it to save as name setting. When you click on that, it's going to pop open this window. You're going to tell it which group you want to save it, and then you're going to give it its name. There we go. And hit save. and now it's saved as one of those report favorites. So like I was saying, is you're going to go through, you're going to set up your reports, you're going to put them in your favorites group, and then once everything's set up, I always say do a test run, and as long as everything looks good, then you can start using it going forward. So when you're ready to run the reports, all you have to do is hit this little folder icon, select the group that you want to run, hit Run Reports, and as I mentioned, it will run the report exactly how you saved it. I saved this one to preview. I could now print it out. I close that window. I now get the other report. There we go. And then it will tell you when it's completed. Okay, let me go ahead and close that preview out there. There we go. So now, let's say you need to make a change. Let's say you discover you didn't mean to do it like last month. Maybe you want to do year to date or something like that for payments. Then what you do is you click on the report favorite that you want to change. Click this edit button here, which will then show you the list of reports that are part of that group. This is also where you can change the whether public or private, as well as you can change the title if you want. Now, when you're ready to make a change to it, so again, let's say this monthly payment report I actually want year to date, I can hit this little edit icon and make my changes, but you'll notice it does not have an OK button anymore. It now says save. So this is where I'd come in here and I'd go to set it for year to date. If it's easy to find, let's see here, this year to date, there we go, and then hit save. Now, the system is smart enough, again, when you have something in there like year to date or month to date, that it will adjust these dates based upon the current date of today. If it says custom in there, it will always run it for that specific date range. So that's why it's, again, always a good idea to try things first and previews and so on and so forth. Now, if you only want to run an individual report, you can then highlight the individual report. You can also hold the shift key down and select the range reports, or hold the control key down and pick reports, whatever reports you want to run, and then hit Run Reports, and again, it's going to run whatever's selected. As I was saying, always make sure everything looks good before you start using them going forward, only because, you might see, well, every time I run this report, it's showing me different information. I want to figure out what's going on. Well, like I said, there might be a setting or something that might be off. Now, one thing to be aware of, too, is just because you ran the report this way last month, if you call Realgreen and say, hey, my numbers are off, I don't know if you ran the report the exact same way. You told me they was the same way, but someone could have gone in here and made some changes. So again, it's one of those things we might be able to find out why the two reports are showing different numbers or whatever, but than what you expect. But as I was saying, it's kind of hard to say. But fortunately, most of these reports will actually show you on the upper right-hand corner a little bit of information of what selection or what criteria was selected, like all payment types and so on and so forth. So as I was saying, the report favorites is really nice, especially if you have common reports that you run quite often. For example, I tell people I recommend running the unserviced list once a month, or if at least when you're almost done with a round, to make sure you didn't find none of your customers fell through the cracks. I recommend running a credit hold report every month to make sure your customers aren't going on credit hold, or you can check to see whether or not they're supposed to be legitimately on credit hold. So again, there are some reports that you might run monthly, or even, like I said, weekly, daily, quarterly, whatever. Again, you can set these up how you want. If you want to remove a report from the list, all you have to do is highlight it, hit the little red X, and it will remove the report. Or if you want to remove the entire group, again, you highlight it, hit the X, hit OK, and that will remove the entire group. Now, once you delete it, there's no way to get it back. You'd have to go through and recreate the group. So, I hope the report favorite helps video helped, and you guys have yourself a wonderful day.